And hello, Savannah. Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk on this fine April 18th, 2018. It is now 12:08 p.m. Thanks for having tuned into WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. My name is Julia M. Spencer. I'll be right here on the microphone on the dials for the rest of the hour. And before I get started with my show today, I want to just let you know that the viewpoints expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. And today's topic, I have brought in a discussion / interview / case study, I guess, with an elderly gentleman who is discussing with me basically his financial future, and we touch on several very important topics such as reverse mortgages, which he was considering, vacation rentals and his issues with the condo association HOA where he lives, and of course keeping his property versus selling it. And that gets into the discussion of basically real estate ownership in old age. So I always find it very helpful to see the viewpoints and follow the thought process of others in similar situations maybe. And so kind of open the shutters a little bit here for you Savannah listeners, so to say. And I'm going to get that interview ready for you. And in the meantime, I'm going to play you some Pet Shop Boys. And those were the Pet Shop Boys with the Pop Kids. This is Julia M. Spencer with Real Estate Real Talk. And thanks for having stayed on for my song here. And thanks for tuning in to my show here, middle of the day, middle of the week on WRUULP. I love being here. I hope you love listening to me. And today's show, I brought with me an interview with an elderly gentleman, Klaus Lange. He is from Germany. He lives in California, though. And I've actually done a show before on reverse mortgages. And it's not usually what I advise people on. And it's a curious topic to me because a friend of mine asked me if it's a good deal to get one. And so when I decided to dig a little bit, giving you a little bit background here, how I met Mr. Klaus Lange, before long, after my friend had asked me, I put on 2 YouTube videos online where in one, I describe why reverse mortgages may not be such a good idea. And in another one where I list a couple of alternatives. And it was really kind of a spur of the moment type video that I made. I didn't put too much effort into it. And by the way, if you want to look at those videos, they are on YouTube. 5 Reasons Not to Get a Reverse Mortgage is the name of one of them. The other one is Don't Get a Reverse Mortgage, Do This Instead. They're both under my YouTube channel, Julia M. Spencer, free to watch for your information if you wanted to. I think I've played them on another radio show of mine before, so I'm not going to play them again. But I thought that was going to be the end of it. My experience with reverse mortgages being very limited. So I put that up there on YouTube, and little did I know, it was just the beginning. I then received tons and tons of feedback and questions, and also people that are actually the ones that are selling reverse mortgages, loan officers. Some very, very angry remarks being that I have no clue what I'm talking about. Well, honestly, I didn't have a clue what I was talking about. I just kind of read a little bit up on it and just gave some basics, things that made sense to me in my limited knowledge. And I just put that out there for people to comment. And after thousands and thousands of views on these videos, I'm kind of surprised it's a big topic for a lot of people. So in any case, I felt a little bit like a fish out of water at first, but then tried to apply my engineering background a little bit to pick apart the problem and see if I can decipher it. And for that purpose right here, I was actually contacted by Mr. Klaus Lange. And he and I, we kind of went back and forth on emails for a little while, and he was trying to get my advice. He was on the fence whether he should get a reverse mortgage or not. And I was able to record our conversation here and have permission from Klaus to replay it here. But basically, he's a Californian man, originally from Germany. He was considering a reverse mortgage about a month and a half ago, and our conversation kind of started with that, but then we started to divert into other issues as well. And the basic topic of the conversation is his thought processes that he went through in order to figure out his financial future. He's 75 years old. He told me he has about 20 more good living years ahead of him, hopefully. And he's thinking about his financial future. And, of course, also whether he should sell or keep his property. And I believe that's probably applicable to a lot of people, even here in the Savannah area or anywhere in the country. So I'm just going to go ahead and play little sections of this conversation that I had. I might interject halfway through or whenever I see something that might be interesting to note on. And, just have a listen with me.
What I've done now with everything that I've taken into consideration, I went against with your advice and against the reverse mortgage. Because it didn't really do anything. I mean, I had the same expenses, the same the HOA and the same property taxes and insurance is all the same.
Well, let's back off because I want to make sure I understand this right. So you actually, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna rehearse what I remember. I don't know how much time you have. I have all night.
I have hours.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So you actually contacted me because you wanted to know if reverse mortgage is a good plan for you, and then I gave you some different options. But basically, let me just go back after what I know. You said you had, you told me a location where you live, which is in California, and then you have 401k with $200,000 less than it, right?
I think I have 200,000 something, 210,000 or so.
And then you have expenses of about maybe $4,000 a month, and that's how much your income is as well from all the different places where you get income.
I get the various. So I'm clearly retired, and so I get my Social Security from here, from the United States. And Germany, whatever Social Security is there, I haven't worked long enough in Germany. I left there when I was 19. So I get a few $100s out of that, and then I get another pension from here, from a Siemens job that I had, and I get $30 a month from Sweden. Hey, that's my movie money, and that's just about it. So I'm doing all right. If I don't do anything stupid, I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
But then so now I sort of painted myself into a corner because when what set it in motion is that I had some long-term Airbnb tenants that suddenly cut it short due to a death in their family, so they had to return to San Diego. And so then all of a sudden that took a chunk out of my life. And in the meantime, my boat was sitting out in dry dock, and I was spending lavishly on it that I wouldn't have otherwise, but all of a sudden I was stuck with those expenses, and I never really caught myself after that.
So so you're actually renting out a condo that you have there, that you're living in right now, but you had people living there?
I had when I had Airbnb going before I got shut down. See, the HOA, they have these little cliques sitting around, these little committees sitting around, and one of the committees was specifically designed to ferret out short-term rentals like Airbnb or vacation home by owner, and VRBO. So they have people that actually do nothing else but sit around all day long and scour the internet for scofflaws.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna get back to that because I have something to say about that. But you basically, I mean, your issue is that you have a lot of property taxes, right? And also.
Yeah, it cost me about $1,000 a month just to be here.
Okay. And
so
then
even if I rented it out at say $2,500, well, then I upset everything, and it gives me it pretty much pays my costs here plus a few $100. It's not good enough.
Okay.
So what I've done is I've just I just pulled the trigger and say, okay, let's sell it. And the selling is good, so I had I set it in motion. There's a Mexican cleaning lady that I've been working with. I said, you come over and you pick up anything you want here, and I'll take out my little trinkets that I want to take with me. I will not put anything into storage, because that's just accumulating.
Yeah.
I did that. Remember when I told you I lost everything at age 50, and then I put everything in storage. Whatever was left over, I put into storage, which was mostly crap, just clothing and knickknacks and so. And it was in storage for 10 years. 10 years later, it comes out, and I've got these boxes sitting in my apartment, and I open them up, and I slap my forehead and say, what did I save this for? This doesn't even fit me anymore. I didn't wear it then. I wouldn't wear it now. And, oh, God, this is awful. And for the cost that I ran up over 10 years of storage, I could have bought everything 10 times over.
Yes, for sure.
So, so I'm not going to do that again. I'll just give furniture. I'll just give it all away. The few trinkets that are there, like kind of that make the place me, I'll wrap them up and put into storage. My artwork, I put into storage separately because that's a write-off then. Yeah.
So you own this condo. You said it's about $475,000 worth.
$450. Well, we're gonna list it. We're gonna put it on the market at $390. I don't think it's gonna be $475.
Yeah.
That was an optimistic number that the people from the reverse mortgage came up with.
Okay.
So the wisdom of the realtors says let's list it at $399 and then let the bidding war start.
Yes,
and then it's going to go up. My guess it's going to go up to $450. Maybe not. Who knows? It'll be between $425 and $450.
Okay.
And,
So you were playing with, because when we talked or when we emailed, I kind of said that reverse mortgages were probably not a good deal, and the way
they were not.
Were they giving you, how much were they actually offering you for the mortgage, the reverse mortgage? That's what I was interested.
They gave me a total of hold on. Let me just open up that page there. Oopsie. Hello. What am I looking for? Ballpark. Let me just make up the numbers. I'm kind of there. 225. They gave total line of credit. The rest up to 475 was in equity sitting in the background. So 22,000 cash up front. 222 in line of credit, and the rest was sitting there in equity.
Okay. 200. We're talking about 200.
So from 475, the line of credit would have been 222. Was it? Is it true? And 22 would come out as cash in closing.
So 244,000 approximately.
Yeah. I wish I had the numbers in front of me here. Let me just go to my email and let me just find the dude and one second.
That's okay. Well, I mean, roughly we're talking about them giving you a payout for this house for half, really, of what it's worth at the moment. If we're going
the payout, yes, and the rest would have stayed. Half of it would have stayed behind in future equity. I mean, I own it outright.
Yeah, but you said it's worth $450,000 approximately.
Yeah. Yes.
And they would have only given you $222,000 plus $22,000.
Correct. And that has changed. I dealt with the same people last year, and then I turned them down.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. I just see an email here. Let me see if it's in this one. And this one is. Here's the proposal from 2017. This was last year. And actually this is a new one here. Hold on a second. 1 second. This is the reverse mortgage analysis. 5/17/17. Yeah, that was last year. And then it was a little higher. And I'm looking at the pie chart here right now. Mm-hmm. The line of credit would have been 235. And I remember them saying that that the initial payout would be 92 or 96 or something like that. That I had to take that out whether I wanted to or not. That's no longer the case. Now we have, this was last year, and I'm going to find the new one in a moment. 235,500 line of credit, 155 equity reserves, and the other numbers are here. Financing fees were 8,000, 425 POC, whatever that is, and 2,000 insurance fees. That was from last year, and that has changed. Now I need to find a new one here. The guy changed his name a couple of times here. From Marty to Leonard. Don't do this to me.
Mm-hmm.
1 sec. The point being that the line of credit had shrunk, and I no longer would have to take out the 96 initially. That would just give me 22,000 initially.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be cash in my pocket. The other 222 I could draw from, and the rest would stay in equity in the background. When I'm reading then they have before they can go forward on this, I have to have a counseling session. They issue me a number, a code number, with which I can, and then I have a list of maybe 15 counselors, and I can call up whoever I want, and they can, with that code number, they can log into the same information that I'm looking at, the account information,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm being counseled. And let me just go there what I'm being counseled on,
mm-hmm.
because that sounds pretty scary once you start reading through all that.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to hear.
Because that's when I said, really, do I want to go there? And that didn't sound too good.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Well, the numbers already don't sound too good because it looks like you're losing a lot of your equity right there. But yeah, I'd like to know what they're going to counsel you to make sure that you understand you're losing a lot of money and agree to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thanks for having tuned in to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. You were actually listening to an interview that I had with a elderly gentleman, Mr. Klaus Lange. He was considering a reverse mortgage as part of his retirement income that he was going to sign up for. And we're kind of going through the numbers. So I'm going to summarize that for you in just a moment. But because we're at the half hour here, I got to do a little bit of housekeeping here at WRUU. And for that purpose, I will be right back.
WRUU brings you the most diverse and passionate local radio programming on the air in Savannah. This all-volunteer and nonprofit community radio station accepts no money from any form of government. Our diversity and independence is made possible only through the generous financial support of listeners like you. We rely on your annual and ongoing monthly contributions to cover the many costs associated with bringing you our broadcast and web programming. If you are a contributor, thank you. If you are not yet a contributor, please show your appreciation of the role WRUU plays in your life by becoming a contributor in any amount. You can donate quickly and easily by credit card or check. You just find the donate and subscribe links at WRUU.org. Thanks for listening to and supporting WRUU.
Hi, I'm Ian McCarthy, host of In the Pocket Sunday evenings from 8 to 10 p.m. here on WRUU. I want to invite you to our second annual Tunes and Brews fundraiser at Southbound Brewing Company, April 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. Join us for our biggest party of the year in support of Savannah's only community radio station, 107.5 FM. This year, we're excited to announce that a few familiar WRUU voices will be providing live music. Josephine Johnson of Sister Sound and Clay Hodges from Monday Motivation will share their tunes. Even yours truly will perform with the local band Nancy Druid. We'll also feature acts like Dead Neighbors of Athens, Georgia, Teen Divorce of Jacksonville, Florida, and DJ C. Powers from Savannah joining in on the action. We'll bring the tunes, Southbound will bring the brews. So join us Saturday, April 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Southbound Brewing on East Lathrop Avenue. More information can be found at WRUU.org. See you there, and thanks for helping keep community radio alive and well in Savannah.
The Banff Center Mountain Film Festival World Tour is scheduled to stop in Savannah on Friday, April 20th at 7 p.m. at the Lucas Theater on Abercorn Street. The festival celebrates mountain culture, mountain sports, environmental stewardship, and the spirit of adventure. Tickets are available at savannahboxoffice.com or 912-525-5050.
And thanks for having tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. Today's discussion is focusing on my interview with Klaus Lange, a gentleman that contacted me through my YouTube videos and had questions about reverse mortgages. So I'm going to just summarize real quick what we've talked about, because the interview goes on actually for quite some time longer. But he has a condo that is appraised at approximately $475,000 in California. And he was offered from a reverse mortgage company a loan of $222,000, which is kind of his line of credit that he could get against this property that he owns outright, and also $22,000 cash at closing. He would have had to also pay approximately $8,000 in closing costs, and from what I remember, $2,500 in other fees of various kinds. Undetermined yet because I didn't see the paperwork, but the rest was told to him would stay in equity. So, dear listeners, here's one key thing that I just wanted to point out with that discussion is the fact that when you get a reverse mortgage, you're not getting a mortgage on your entire value of your property. You're going to get approximately, in this case, about a little bit close to 2/3, but not quite. And the rest will be sitting in your equity. But the thing is that when you're elderly, but the time that you're going to be at the end of your life, or when the mortgage runs out, which probably the end of your life is going to come sooner if you're 75 or older, as in this case with this gentleman, he's going to have to either repay that loan, or he's going to have to sell the house to repay the loan. And it's an undetermined future of how much the house will actually be worth in the future. So there's a possibility that he may actually lose his property in this process, because if he can't sell it, then obviously the property will go through some sort of foreclosure so that this loan can be repaid. In other words, what I'm trying to say, the loan will be repaid and he can't get all of the equity out. This is where I always tell people to be kind of cautious with reverse mortgages, because you're basically putting this big lien, this mortgage lien on your property, but you're not getting all the money out. And at the end of your life, of course, if you're dead, you don't care, but there's a lot of money that could possibly end up going out the window that is not necessarily needs to go out. So I didn't like these numbers very much. The value of his property is $475,000. If he needed to get rid of it, I always recommend to just go ahead and sell it and maybe downsize. That was one of the options that I had recommended to my previous listeners on my YouTube channel, and instead not have to pay these extraordinary closing costs, a total of which is about $10,000 from what this paperwork was going to be, and he wasn't even going to get all the equity out. So I didn't think it was such a great deal, and after more discussion, we both decided it probably wasn't that great of a deal. But let me just play you the rest of this interview and this discussion we had. We'll talk about a couple other things as well. I'm going to try to squeeze in as much as I can here into my hour until 1 o'clock, and here it goes.
Nice guy, also a retired guy, like, my speed, my age. We really good level, but and he can't even do it. This is why they put the counselors in there. That I'm being told the negative stuff about it. Yeah. So you can't just have a salesman come out and sweet talk you into it.
It's probably because there's some sort of regulation, maybe in the state of California, maybe federal, where they can't, unless they have an independent person actually advise you.
1 second. Here's the counseling code docs and. Come on. This is checklist of key reverse mortgage self-evaluation checklist of key considerations. You should ask yourself the following questions before proceeding with your loan application, like how do you intend to use your reverse mortgage loan proceeds? And 2, do you fully understand your obligations as a borrower under a reverse mortgage? And 3, if you are married, will your spouse be a co-borrower on your loan? 4, how will your reverse mortgage loan be repaid? 5, do you receive assistance under any government programs that are based on your current income? And 6, how long do you or your spouse plan to remain in the home? And 7, have you considered other strategies to supplement your retirement income? So, I don't want to supplement my retirement income. Here are the various questions. Now it goes into it here. How do you intend to use your reverse mortgage loan proceeds? And then it says, you want me to read it down? It's not very long.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. Yeah. One of the advantages of a reverse mortgage loan is that borrowers generally have the freedom to use their cash proceeds any way they choose. Eligible homeowners obtain reverse mortgages for many reasons, including repairing or modifying the home to meet the physical needs of getting older, supplementing retirement income to meet expenses, or managing the costs of in-home care, paying off an existing mortgage, paying bills, paying property taxes, delaying Social Security, providing a source of funds for living expenses in lieu of liquidating financial investments during times of market downturns or disruption. Ooh, that sounds dangerous. Establishing a line of credit for use as a financial safety net, helping retirement savings last longer, purchasing a retirement home. Okay, none of those really apply to me. Let's see, I would like to have some extra cash because I painted myself in the corner, but I could take out some of my 401k swallow the taxes on it and just pay off. I mean, I need about 50,000 to be clean up everything and pay off car loans. And speaking of car loans, am I jumping back and forth here? Or shall I say? Let me say with the reverse mortgage.
No. I'm listening.
Okay, let me just the car loan while I'm just thinking of it. Yeah, I'm just sailing along quite nicely, and everything is going well, and Airbnb is going well, and so I really have more money than I need, and I'm looking at a new car. Yeah, I could use a new car, and I looked at the car loan, and my credit union would give me a car loan for 1%. I said, whoa, 1%? Really? So I bought myself a new car. Well, it's not the new car. It adds another $500 payment. On a fixed income, that's all of a sudden, yeah, at first I didn't think too much about it, but then a couple of dips for this or that into the credit lines, a few bigger purchases on a credit card, then all of a sudden I saw the rope tightening. This is not good. This is not going to end well. You know, if I need to find a way out. And so the way out right now is, and the condominium complex that I'm living in, as nice as it is, I have my condominium here. The marina is right next door. I have a houseboat in that marina, so I use it as my guest bedroom. This is a one-bedroom unit, and so it's, I'm a happy camper here. But as a condominium, I'm not using the swimming pool. I'm not using the gym. I'm not using their movie theater with all the geezers hanging out there. That's somebody in their wit called it God's own waiting room here, because a lot of the units are small. Most of them are one-bedroom or studios. Some of them are two-bedroom, and a handful, maybe 3 or 4 penthouses. Altogether, there's about 1,200 units in here. And I forgive them when they're down on Airbnb, because they have 1,200 units to watch, and if everybody does what they want to do, this can get out of hand pretty fast. And they need to observe. They're kind of right on the dividing line with so many percent. I think they have like 55% owner occupied and 45% rented out. And when that changes, when they're losing the 50% edge of owner occupied, I think some other rules start applying there. And I think it has to do with refinancing. Like lenders look at owner occupied or renter occupied. And they don't like the rent. They don't like to have the majority being renter occupied.
Okay, so
I'm sorry?
Let me just get back to that real quick, because Airbnb is just a company that does that. We're talking about vacation rental. I don't know, and I'm actually not sure where I would find that information, but I can ask around if it's the same in California as here in Georgia. But here in Georgia, and there's a lot of places that also want to outlaw Airbnb and don't do Airbnb here. You can't do it. What they're talking about is not Airbnb specifically as a company. There's, like you mentioned already. No. It's
usually the city. It's the township that is against it.
Well, let me tell you.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter what company it's run through. But what is considered here in the state of Georgia as a short-term rental is everything below 30 days. So you can put your condo, your room on any of those websites, and as long as you advertise it for 30 days or over, and you need to read the laws on that, it's not considered a short-term rental.
Go ahead.
And so what a lot of hosts do, that's exactly what they do. They put everything on Airbnb or whatever, and advertise it as 30 days and over, and tell people, hey, book it for 30 days. If you have to leave early, then we'll shorten your stay. And the point is you can't advertise it for less than 30 days. But if somebody books it for 30 days and leaves earlier, like after a week, there's nothing anybody can do about it. You can't force them to stay.
Well, I thought so in my case, but the HOA, the board of directors, chose to interpret it differently. They say short-term rental is short-term rental. What we want to see is a 1-year lease. It's about how you're going to enforce that. You have 1,200 units here with 45% renter occupied. How are you going to? How do you control that everybody's on a 1-year lease? So what I would do is I would just, if I were to rent it out, too late now. If I were to rent it out, I simply would write a 1-year lease, and if they want to break it, there is break it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I can't do that like 3 times a year, because then for keys and things like that, I have to bring the people over there to the main office to be rekeyed and logged in and what have you. Yeah.
And then the other thing is that most apartment complexes and condo associations don't consider anybody for staying more than 2 weeks as a tenant at all. It's just a guest.
Yes.
So you can welcome guests in your home if you like.
Yes, you can. But the city of Emeryville they just went against it, and the HOA in particular went against it. They just chose to interpret it differently. Mm-hmm. And if you know any HOAs, you just can't argue with them. One step further over, Berkeley, which is right next to us, said, fine, do it, and we're charging these taxes and these taxes and these taxes, and so you get a hefty fee, almost 1/3 on top of the advertised Airbnb fee. The same thing goes for Chicago. I just booked a room in Chicago, and whoa, they added like 25% to the thing, which is, I mean, people want to make money, fine. The city wants to make money, fine. But my HOA, with the people with the little committees that have nothing else to do but sit around on the computer screen all day long and find out scofflaws, and then can't fight that. So as attractive as this place is, and I admit that if I get old and decrepit and end up in a wheelchair, this is where I would want to be.
And thanks for having tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. You were listening to an interview, or a discussion rather, I had with one of my subscribers, Klaus Lange, who contacted me initially to ask questions about reverse mortgages, but we kind of gotten into a larger conversation about how to secure a good financial future for him as he's an elderly person. And I brought that interview with me here for your Savannah community because I figured hopefully it might be somebody that you can get some insights from, sort of connect with his dilemmas and his thought processes. Maybe you have something in common with him. Maybe that you're not alone in your quest to secure a good financial future in an older age, but also kind of shed some light on some of the difficulties that some people have in establishing that little gap at the end of your life when you need some extra income, whether reverse mortgages is the right way to go, whether offering your places as vacation rental is the right to go, and some of the difficulties associated with each one of those options. So hopefully you were also entertained a bit. Klaus is a funny guy. And what I'm going to do is I have about 10 more minutes here in my show, and this interview goes on for quite some time longer, but I'm going to squeeze in a few more minutes of this after I play you one more song, and I will be right back. Thanks for having tuned into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer here on a Wednesday afternoon. Hump day, middle of the day, middle of the week. You're listening to WRULP Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM. WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. And unfortunately, I love being here at the studio. I only have about 4 minutes left. So unfortunately, not enough time to play any more of this interview, but it goes on for a good another hour after this. And we discuss more options of some options for the elderly people to secure a financial income in old age. So what I've decided to do is to just go ahead and play the rest of this interview next week on my next show here on Wednesdays on Real Estate Real Talk at noon. So please make sure you put that on your calendar, pencil yourself in to listen to it next week. We're going to play the rest of this. And in the meantime, just wanted to let you also know that the viewpoints expressed in the preceding program were not necessarily those of WRUU, its license holder, or its staff. I have a lot of opinions on this show. I want to just make sure that nobody's offended. And of course, always read the disclaimer. Now, you can reach me always by just emailing me to realestate@juliamspencer.com. Don't forget the M in the middle. Also, if you have questions to Klaus or want to connect with him, just reach out to me and I'll put you guys in touch. My show, of course, Real Estate Real Talk, is on Wednesdays at noon. The next show on the station right here is going to be Jazz Brunch, hosted by Dave Lake. And I look really forward to hear your comments, questions, suggestions, or if you want me to make another show about a topic or maybe examine a specific problem or question that you have, I'll find the experts. I'll bring them here on the air. I'll bring people like yourself and we'll discuss it and we'll pick it apart. So feel free to suggest that topic to me. Send it to me, realestate@juliamspencer.com. Again, that email. You can also reach me on Facebook. Just type in Julia M. Spencer. Don't forget the M initial. And thank you so much, Savannah, for listeners for tuning in. I hope you have an awesome rest of your Wednesday here. It's a beautiful day outside here in Savannah. And I hope I can hear from you and hope you can tune in again next week. Have a great Wednesday afternoon, everyone.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.